Alright guys, I think we have very good progress so far, and that I hope you understand everything very clearly what I'm trying to explain you. And in case you just joined in this video, check my latest video in top right corner that you understand and follow what we are explaining here. And today we will talk about new thing in Python finally, and this is very common thing in Python. It's called functions. So you can close your application called expenses, click on your folder with right mouse and create new Python file, and we will call it functions.py. I already explained you need to put .py in the end as extension of your file that your computer understand and can interpret this file as Python file. So we will talk about functions. What functions actually are. Functions are new command we will just learn this tutorial, where actually you can put several things to happen, some calculations, some whatever you want to do, and then call that function to execute command what you write in function. This is raw basic explanation which you will understand better in a real life example. So let's try to make new application which we will call how many centimeters in meter. This is short way how I call it, but it's under comment, so it really doesn't matter how it's written here. So what we will need to do, we will make first one variable. We will call it conversion to centimeter, and we will put value 100. Why? Because in 1 meter there is 100 centimeters. So when we will make math calculations, it's very important that we have accurate number, that we get correct result. Then we will define the name of unit. Unit will be centimeters. And just for another example, we will define unit meter, which will be meters. So now when we have three variables, we can do something with them. Let's execute first command with these variables. So we will use formatted string, and we will say that 5 meters are, then we will put 5 and conversion to centimeter variable, and we will say how many centimeter is this. And let me explain what I just write here. If you follow what I said, I write like this. I want to calculate 5 meters to get how many centimeters are in 5 meters. So if I put 5 here, because that's the value what I want to calculate, I need to also put 5 here, so it's the same thing, to convert meters to centimeters. So that means if I want to calculate 5 meters to get how many centimeters is in 5 meter, I need to 5 and 5 place on both these locations. Why? Because if I want to write 5 meters are and then 3 multiply with centimeters, it won't be calculation for 5 meters, it will be calculation for 3 meters. That's something what I need to repeat to get accurate result. If I run this application, let's say that 5 meters are 500 centimeters, and just need to put space here that it looks pretty. Okay, I can multiply this as many times as I want, and I can change values to say, for example, 1.5 meter, and I need to also put 1.5 here, and let's say 56 meter, and put 56 also here. And when I run this again, I will get accurate results for values I just enter. But why I put here unit meters? Let me show you why. If I want to calculate, for example, 400 centimeters are 400 divide with conversion centimeters and unit meter. So I want to calculate how many meters are in 400 centimeters. And I get 400 centimeters are 4 meters. That's it. So this is just for you that you understand that we can multiply these things, divide these things, and do whatever we want to calculate with any function and operation we want to use. So okay, we have this, and we can make another example. We can calculate how many days are in some number of weeks. So how are we going to do that? Number of days in week is how many? 7, right? Unit days, to be precisely, will be days. So like you notice already, this is what? Integer, and this is string. Integer can be written without quotes, but strings should be inside quotes. So now when we have this, we can make another calculation and calculate, for example, in 15 weeks there are, and then multiply 15 with number of days in week and put unit days. So when we run another, we will get in 15 weeks there are 105 days. So it's correct, because 70, then multiply with 775, multiply with 735, altogether 105. It's correct. So how we can make our life easier? Easy. We can use functions, and functions in Python are defined with def. Okay, so what's the point of this function? We want to convert meters to centimeter, and I will make meter to centimeter, that we understand what we are doing. And this is how functions should start. Okay, braces and semicolon in the end. So now we go in new line, tabbed to the right, not like this, because it won't work. And you see you have red here, it need to be moved, placed on the right with tab. And then we can calculate something here or do some function here. For example, we can put all this in function and run it. And what will happen? Nothing, because we didn't call function. And we call function how? That we use this is the name of function, see this, and close it, brackets like this. And then we will get everything what's written inside this function. It's the same like in my first video when I told you when you run Python application in Windows using command prompt, start run command prompt, and you start Python, you quit from Python like this. So every function must end up like this to be executed. And inside this you can put some value, and I will show you that shortly. So what's the point of this function and what we want to do with this function? We want to calculate how many meters are in centimeter, but to make it to be dynamic. Okay, so that when we call function, put some value inside, and then that function calculate, instead of writing for everything what we want to calculate, some value by ourselves. So how we are going to do this? We are going to do this that we put some parameter here inside, and that parameters will be number of meters. And then when we have it, we can replace this is what we put manually inside of this print statement. And then when we call our function meter to centimeter, then we put inside, like I just tell you shortly before, value we want to calculate. So for 4 meters, but to get this to work, of course, I forgot that I need to put this also inside of this statement in the right way. So now when we rerun our program, we will get that 4 meters are 400 centimeters. Now we can also copy this, and place different values inside, 1.97 and 537.32, and run it, and we will get different results. So point is, like you see, logic is very simple. We call and build function with word def. Then we name function. This is something what will be the name of our function. And should be also be like variable descriptive, that we understand what's the purpose of this function. So this function should convert meters to centimeter. That's why I call it exactly how I did. And then we are not obligated to put any parameters inside these brackets here. See, we don't need to put this. But we did it because we want, when we call function later, dynamically to calculate value we have manually enter before. So that's the point of function, to make some dynamic calculation for us. So it's very easy to understand logic, that function meter to centimeter calculate some value of number of meters, and then in print statement we say that this value entered here will be placed here, and we write what we want to write here manually, and then again we pull here value what we write in function, and we multiply it with defined variable before that, and then we place also name of the unit what we also define in variable before that. And now it's the great moment to explain you something what it's called scopes. Scopes are some values which can be global. So when we say, for example, like this, we have this function, and this function call variable, this one, conversion to centimeter, which is global, okay? And this unit centimeter, it's also global variable. So that means you can include these variables anywhere in your code. But for example, if I want to make new function, and let's say we can call this what is scope, and then inside this function I want to print, for example, this number of meters, and I also want to print conversion to centimeter, and then I want to run this function what is scope, that we are not messed up. I will delete everything else and I will run function and I will get error, because this is local variable. And to be more clear, I can make local variable, and this variable can have value 500, let's say. And if I want to print this local variable here, I will get what? Same error, of course. But if I want to print this local variable here in m to centimeter, let's say that first we calculate for 1 meter and then we print this value what we put in this variable, we run function, and of course it will be printed, you see, because this variable is local. So that means this scopes means that there are variables which are local and global, and function can work with both, but can work only in case if local variable is written inside that function. And global variables can be pulled in any function, like you see. Conversion to centimeter is called in what is scope function, and it's called in meter to centimeter function. Understand? It's maybe a little bit confusing, but in next video we will go step further and we will upgrade this function to be a little bit more sophisticated. So far you can make yourself some calculation and you can calculate whatever you want. You can calculate minutes in hours, you can calculate seconds in minutes, you can calculate whatever you want. But this is the main principle how function works using math operations. So guys, see you next video where we will make this function to be a little bit more sophisticated and we will learn, of course, something new.